Welcome into the ATB show. It is at the buzzer, or Adam. You're in your jailhouse orange. I like that. What's on the front of the? What's on the front?
Jailhouse orange. It's like the
WNBA.
Oh, I love that.
WNBA. Perfect timing.
You've got Adam, Tim. If you haven't figured out the acronym, it's at the buzzer, and also Adam, Timmy, and Billy.
Well, if you haven't figured out the acronym yet, welcome to the show.
Yeah, I was actually in a social media / podcasting summit today here at the building, and nice. somebody was asking, and I was like, well, it's ATB, it's at the buzzer, and I said it's also Adam, Timmy, and Billy. Like, oh, that's good, and I'm like, it is good. It's some of our best work, and that's why Joe and Leslie at AAA Work Trucks said, you know what? We're going to take the sexiest man in beautiful downtown Lowell. We're going to make him take off his shirt, slap him on the side of a truck, and then once every 166 hours, 67 hours, because there's 168 in the week, we'll have him and his friends talk about sports, and we'll also have him say this. Rubber Shoes, take it away.
Yes, brought to you by AAA Work Trucks, your one-stop shop for all your work truck needs. If it goes in or on a vehicle, it's a good bet AAA can take care of it for you. Give them a call at 866-783-6222 or check them out online at aaaworktrucks.com.
I always feel like it's in, on, or around a truck, which makes no sense. It's in, on, or what is it? In, on, like when you're not here, I jam it up, I'm sure, every time.
In or on.
Oh, it's just in or on a truck. I'm sure AAA Work Trucks can take care of it. Yes,
I mean, if it goes around a truck, they could probably figure it out.
Well, yeah, see, I've got that in my head because he's wrapped on the truck.
So.
Yeah, he's wrapped on the truck, right? It's all rubbish.
Right. Do they do wraps, or is that?
We subcontract wraps out.
Subcontracted. All right, good.
So here's a question. I should know the answer to this.
Probably
this will be on a quiz later. Sharpen your crayons, kids. Is your image horrifying people on 128, 95, 495 everywhere? Or do you have the only Rubber Shoes wrap truck?
We should know
this. There's only one.
There's only one? Oh,
well,
come on.
Technically, there's
they did the first one. It pulled in, and Joe and Leslie are like, that's a friggin' mistake.
There's two right now because we have our old demo still, but that will, once we sell it, the wrap will be taken off.
Oh, wow.
Aren't you? You said you were doing new artwork. Are we not getting a new Rubber Shoes?
The new vehicle's done. Yeah.
And you're on it again.
Yes.
Shirtless again?
That's the one you drive.
No. Yes.
Okay. I love all of this. Okay.
I love that he drives the truck that has him on it. I think that's so magical.
Oh, it's the most egotistical thing. He pulls into the driveway in Lowell.
Does he get out and flex in front of it?
There's probably a bunch of neighbors that don't know him well enough to realize, right? But then, then you get that one neighbor that's like, this fucking guy put himself on the side of the truck.
So I've been visiting.
Actually, the most disturbing part is the company decided to put him on the side of the truck.
Yeah,
they did. I've been visiting the same customers for like 12 years now, and I still have people that will all of a sudden be like, hey, is that you on the van?
I love it.
Of course.
Because if you're not paying attention,
you and ask you for a picture or no?
No, that has not happened.
If they're not paying attention, it really, if you look at it like collectively, because there's like one that you're in like literal blue collar, like blue shirt, name embroidered. Right. Then there's another one with like a hard hat shot, Yeah, it's almost like they're like, the theme's going to be village people. We're just not going to say it out loud, right? Yeah. And
usually after people say, is that you on the van? And I say, yes. The second thing they usually say is, wow, you've lost a lot of weight.
Oh, my God.
I
love that.
That's why you need the new artwork.
Brought to you by Best Fitness, not a sponsor yet.
Yeah. There you go.
And the Bruce Freeman Rail Trail, not a sponsor yet. Anyway.
Right.
What was I going to say? Yeah, the absolute gold that we probably should incorporate, we could use it as the close, right? As a reminder brought to you by, is the commercial in which Steph, where Mother Shoes, also an employee, is just the utter disappointment on her face, right?
So disappointed.
And when you if we had Daniel Day-Lewis,
not acting.
Yeah, if we had Daniel Day-Lewis and we were talking about method acting, he'd be like, "Go to a place in your life where you were totally disappointed." And she's like,
Home.
Yeah. She's like, well, he's here, so I'm just gonna.
Yeah. So it's not hard. I could
Yeah.
picture him right here.
How did you do it, Steph? Bill's my muse. Oh my God, unbelievable. Well, we appreciate Joe and Leslie and all the support. AAA Work
Oh,
Trucks.
my God,
If you
good.
do have needs, Rubber Shoes will pull into a driveway near you or come to your business and get it all figured out. So
Certain
that
needs,
being
just
said,
truck needs.
we don't know. He's not here. He's in hair and makeup, as you can see. The ATB bracket champion from the men's Final Four. Corey's in hair and makeup. He is traveling. He's somewhere in the United States of America, and he might make it to join us. Not sure.
Yeah.
So we're
Might
going to
be
keep
hanging out with Karl Malone, right?
We're going to keep a velvet rope around his table until he does or doesn't show up. He might be. I don't even know where he is. I just know that he is. He's doing something that took longer yesterday, and he wasn't sure if he'd be able to get here today. We'll see. Otherwise, we're going to remind him. And I'm the idiot, like Taylor Swift. Hi, I'm the problem. It's me, right? Like I in the chat yesterday. Because I can't navigate, this shouldn't shock anybody. I couldn't navigate inside the ESPN app. I could get to the men's bracket, but I couldn't seem to find where our bracket was. I did it a couple times, and I just got lost in the matrix.
Aren't you the one that made it, or no?
I am not, sir. No.
Oh, I thought you were the one that made it. Okay.
Capable of doing that? No. I believe I asked Uncle Dukes to do it.
Oh, okay.
Uncle Dukes threw it together, and I know Stoney was in there, Uncle Dukes was in there, Mother Dukes was in there, and a whole bunch of us were in there. And Janina's been tracking it, and she's like, well, so at this point, because it was like tracking points, and I think Celtics fan or somebody had Purdue winning. So obviously Purdue won, they would have been all set.
Yep.
But then it was stacked based on points scored throughout the whole thing, and Rubber Shoes was in front forever. And then North Kakalaka put a dent in your world, I think, when they stepped out. So obviously it came down to somebody with UNC, and sure enough, it was Corey. And I'm dumb enough in the chat, although we're all Boy Scouts, I'm dumb enough in the chat to be like, hey, congratulations, Corey. I'll Venmo you $24. And he's like, oh, there was money on it? Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah, so he's on a business trip, and he just got some fresh spending shekels. So
Bill, how did you come up with 24, not 22?
2024.
2024.
That's all. It'll be $25 next year. I'll let you guess how much it's going to be in 26.
Came out of your brain.
Always. I completely appreciate that you would guesstimate that it would be 22, but I figured we'll make it $24 because it's 24.
It was sad that Rubber Shoes fell off so fast. I mean, he was in the lead for the vast majority of it.
Ever. But he also made a point of saying this is how stupid this is. Because you were all over the place with your guesses, and you were still in first place. Did you close your eyes and just start punching holes? Like
No, it's
no?
well. So that's the thing. It's like the first weekend, if you hit some of the long shots that win, that bolts you to the top.
Right.
But then once, NC State was the only real underdog that made it pretty far, and most people didn't have them pass. Like I did have them win, I think, into the second weekend. But after that, you stop picking the favorites.
Yep.
So look who made it to the finals. It was Purdue and UConn, the top two teams.
Yep.
And the same in the women's bracket. It was South Carolina and Iowa, two of the top two teams. So it usually when it gets to the Final Four and stuff, it's the regular team. So then it's just which one did you pick to win it all?
One of the big stories after these things wrap up is immediately the next day or 20 minutes after the game, the confetti hasn't even finished falling out of the rafters, and Vegas has already predicted next year. There is a prediction. I haven't looked because I can't find it in the app.
I think
because
they
I'm
have
old.
UConn one.
Do they have UConn going back again?
I think so. Yep. Because Klingon has said that he potentially will come back. He said that he's from Bristol, Connecticut. He wants to bring championships to UConn. He wants to go for 3, I think. I mean, he has the potential. I'm not saying this is going to happen, but he has the potential to go for 4. I mean, right? Because he was a freshman last year. He's only a sophomore this year. So he could potentially win 4 if he stays. I think he gets to a point personally that Edey was at. Edey was so dominant in the national championship game. The problem was nobody else could make shots, and UConn was playing great perimeter defense. But nobody else could make shots. So the UConn matched up well against Edey, but Edey was pretty dominant still, even though he just needed help. I forget what he ended with. He ended with like 38 or something like that. Something outrageous. But but UConn won't have them to go through next year, and there really wasn't anybody else that put up much of a fight. And UConn's pretty young. I mean, they have quite a few sophomores and juniors on the team, plus Klingon, who's a sophomore right now. So if he comes back and they bring back all those other guys that don't go to the NBA draft, which is unlikely, they could three-peat, which would be insane in this day and age. Absolutely insane.
Well, so a couple things. I was shocked only for the fact that I feel like everybody before the game kept talking about the fact that Purdue would have to have multiple 3-pointers to stay in the game.
Yeah.
And I'm scrolling TikTok, Janina's Candy Crushing or whatever. We're talking and all this stuff. I'm looking up, but I'm not paying tons of attention to the game. Just sort of watching them play and it stayed close. Were you surprised that it stayed that close for that long until the end? Because what was that?
That's kind of been UConn's kind of thing all season. They're usually they're actually kind of mirror South Carolina in a weird way. They're pretty strong in the first half, but it's always pretty close. And then they just run you out of the gym. I mean, if you watch them play, they play so fast and just wear people out. I mean, they use almost the entire shot clock most times. They come down. They're running around for you're running around for 25, 26 seconds before they put a shot up. And then you've got Klingon on the boards. And if he grabs the rebound, you got another shot clock and you just got to keep running. So people get tired. It's more of a track meet when you play UConn. And also I think you got to give credit where credit is due. Dan Hurley had a great, scouting report on Purdue and basically was like, you're not going to make threes. It's not going to happen. Zach Edey can go for 70. It doesn't matter. It's not going to happen. You're not going to make threes. And that was how they won the game. So I wasn't that surprised early on because Purdue did a nice job going down low to Edey. And Edey was also like a beast on defense in the first half. And I don't really know what happened to him in the second half. He kind of disappeared a little bit in the second half on defense. And we got, well, I say we. Like I'm on the team.
Well, you live there. You're right there.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
You're right there. Yeah.
But we got to the rim a lot. We got to the rim a lot more in the second half, and then our threes started falling. So that's kind of how we pulled away.
So they were talking about the fact that obviously there's a lot of movement. Kentucky's open, unless that changed today. I haven't been paying attention.
No, it hasn't.
No, sorry. Calipari's going to Kentucky. Yes. No, leaving Kentucky.
No, Arkansas.
Leaving Kentucky open. I apologize. And the probability that obviously somebody like Hurley would be getting an offer or getting the Brinks truck backed up to his house to stay at UConn. Do you think there's less play there because there's an opportunity for him to create history and maybe 3 or even 4-peat with people like Klingon coming back? Do you think the probability of him, and they asked him this in the post-game presser, and he just sort of laughed it off like, yeah, nah. And he actually didn't answer the question. He said, you'll have to talk to my wife because obviously they're very happy where they are.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's like almost a 0 chance that he goes anywhere.
Yeah.
I'm not saying it's a 0 chance, but I would say it's pretty damn close to 0. They have expressed their love for the community up here. They've, he gets paid very well. He's one of the highest paid state employees. I think he's in line with Gino, if not on, higher than Gino. And I think he's pretty happy. I can see why you would be enticed to go down to Kentucky. I mean, that's a hell of a, basketball university too, but I don't know. Who would pass up the opportunity to go for 3? I wouldn't, but I don't think he will.
Yeah, I agree with you. Anything from the game that shocks you? Anybody that showed up that you didn't think didn't see that coming?
Not really. I mean, Newton's been strong all season, and he was just a monster in that game. And I thought Klingon held his own. I was really worried because Edey is just, I mean, he's only a couple of inches taller than him, but he's just so much stronger than Klingon. And in the first half, I was getting really nervous because Edey missed a couple of little baby hooks that he usually knocks in, and I was shocked that he missed them. So I was getting a little bit nervous because I was like, well, he's not going to miss those all game. But in the end, I wasn't really surprised. I thought that it was going to stay close through like mid third quarter, and then we would pull away. So I was happy with it.
Rubber shoes. Deep thoughts on that before we move on to
I could tell.
the Red
I could tell you
Sox.
about the dream I had when I was sleeping.
Oh, does it involve your wrapped
Everybody
truck?
put the kids to bed? What's happening? What are we doing?
9:40 means Rubber Shoes is in bed because he wakes up at 3:45 every morning. So
9:40.
0% of that.
What?
I do. Yeah, I do want to. Are those your eclipse glasses? What just happened?
No, I was putting on in case Rubber Shoes is. Never mind.
Okay. Go, so you saw none of the game.
Correct.
Oh,
Okay. Well, I want to talk about that. So, and I know it's two different worlds, and it's not like the women being on Sunday at 3:00. Like, to me, if they want to get more eyeballs on it, how do they not move that up even even a 7:45 tip, an 8:00 tip? Okay, it's an hour and 20 minutes. That's a big deal.
I think
Like,
you move the men's back. You mean, or move the women's up?
No. I'm saying why don't they move the men's back like 9:20 tip? I said that to Janina.
Yeah.
She goes, "You're kidding me," and I stayed up for the whole thing, which I was remarkably proud of myself because I would
That's
normally,
impressive.
yeah, I would not, like not 8:59. Ask Janina, this is happening in our bedroom. Don't worry, you can finish your dinner, everybody. I'm doing this. And
This is Rubber Shoes' dream right here.
Yeah, and I'm throwing them up on the nightstand. And
Yep.
she hears the click of my glasses on the nightstand. She's like, "Good night, Grandpa." And I'm like, "Yup." Like 8:59, I'm like, cross
out.
and lay back in the tomb. Yep.
Well, I know. I
Sleepy
know
nights.
Timmy's up pretty close to when I am because we usually will. I'll send a text and he'll reply right away, or vice
Oh,
versa.
I'm in the 4:30 window. I'm wide awake. Yes.
Yeah.
There's
Yeah.
about 70 days in my year where my phone buzzes from you guys texting back and forth, and I'm like, God damn it, go to bed. What's wrong with you guys?
We're
Go
wide
back
awake.
to
We're
bed."
wide awake. Wide awake.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
So
why-
actually, as I didn't watch any of the men's, I didn't watch any of the women's. It has nothing to do with gender. All I care about is my brackets and UNC. Once UNC's out, I could care less. If my brackets aren't gonna win it, I don't care about the games. I don't bother watching them.
Sure. Yep.
Well,
That's why
I would say-
I normally don't care about March Madness because we don't get invited. Chestnut Hill University is usually at home.
Yeah. So
Always
that's
the
it's-
bridesmaid, never the bride.
care
Yeah.
about my team and my brackets, and that's it. That's the only
Yeah.
reason why I'm so invested in it the first weekend, because and that's why I think the men's game, they have better ratings the first weekend because everyone's still in their brackets.
And the brackets are still intriguing. Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
And that's
Yep.
the probably, I don't know, 90% of the people that watch the men's game is because of the brackets, and then as they fall out, they stop watching, like me.
Yeah. Well,
So Rubber Shoes-
the brackets do make it a Super Bowl effect. Everybody can be involved and make it fun. And then everybody gets eliminated within the first weekend. Yes. Yep.
On this podcast, Rubber Shoes, you said that there's no way that the men's national championship game is going to not outdraw the women's game, and it's obviously way far off from your prediction. So what say you?
The-
He's going to go at 3:00.
yeah.
Just say 3:00.
No,
it was 3:00.
I think they had more of a story.
1,000%. I
Caitlin
agree.
Clark.
Yep.
With Caitlin
Yep.
Clark, let's see what happens there when they don't have Caitlin Clark, because she's already. I thought she would do another year because she was eligible, but she's already posted on Instagram that she said goodbye to Iowa. So I guess she's going into the draft. The
Yeah.
Well,
NWADA
she
draft.
declared for the draft like before the March Madness started.
Yeah, I appreciate you bringing that up, Adam, because I didn't realize that, and I kept saying to people,
I didn't think you could do that.
yeah, she did, but Adam's right, she did, and because that was my sort of my hope, like, well, I would love UConn to win because that would be amazing to watch both the men's and women take it. That'd be ridiculous. Question for the University of Connecticut: how many lampposts are you replacing? They took them down. Did you see the preemptive strike? The university took down all the lampposts.
I know they did. It's
Holy
crazy.
Moses. Anyway, that's a whole nother episode. And I was like, because I'd love to see UConn win, and if that pissed or lit the fire enough for her to come back. And Janina's like, oh, no, she declared for the draft 3 years ago. I'm like, oh, I didn't even realize that. Which
there's no rules around declaring for either the NBA or the WNBA draft. You just basically post it on Instagram, and all of a sudden it's official. So there's not really any rules. I'm sure there's paperwork behind the scenes, but
I would agree with Rubber Shoes. I would agree with Rubber Shoes. If I called. If I called Maddie DeVoe right now, one of our friends from home, if I called Maddie DeVoe right now and said, name 6, and I'm not saying he'd nail it, but name 6 men's college basketball athletes that were valid in the last 20 minutes, and then or name 6 women college basketball athletes. I think, to Rubber Shoes' point, the stories around because the Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, You Can't See Me, Pointing to the Ring, all that, all those stories drew more interest. And there were just more names around it than, Edie, Klingon, and all that kind of stuff. But outside of that, and I'm only saying those 2 names off the top of my head right now because I can remember them. I mean, next name in my head, Hurley's son.
Right.
And I know that's not his legal name.
You don't even know his first name. You just know that he's the Hurley son.
Is it Alex? I feel like it's Alex Hurley, but I think I'm wrong.
It might be. I don't even know. I root for you.
It doesn't matter. What did he do? He held the ball and then he dribbled. Well, his dad yelled at him like he was in rec league, like dribble the ball. Yeah. I think Rubber Shoes has a great point. There were just more stories around it.
I think that absolutely, there's no question that the numbers will drop off when Caitlin's not there next year. There's no question, but I do think that it is a moment in time where women's play. There are more stars in the women's game, and I'm not saying anything that other people haven't said before, but there are more stars in the women's game than there are in the men's game. And I think, Timmy, to your point, if you talk to Maddie DeVoe, he's probably going to be able to take Caitlin Clark out of the mix, probably name a number of different women's players than he's probably going to be able to name. I don't know Matt that well, but I would assume that's the case, and that's the case with a lot of my friends too. That they can't name any of the men's players. I think I don't know if you heard LeBron talk about it on his podcast, but they were talking about he thinks he attributes it to like the one and done thing. Nobody has a chance to 100%. Build up a relationship with these players.
100%.
Which I think is true. I think if they implemented that in the women's game, I think you would find the same thing that's happening with the men's game. I don't think people would be that interested in it.
Yep. Well, switching gears real quick, but we're going to go there, and I do want to get to
like hoop heads like Scotty Dukes. He probably knows 10 players that are going to be drafted. I don't know one college player that maybe except Edie. And of course Bronny.
I was just going to say
in the draft.
That's where I'm going. I'm
I got to ask you because I didn't when I saw he was declaring for the draft.
It's insane.
Was it April 1st by any chance? Because it's ridiculous that he's going.
No. It's 4,000%. I believe it's 4,000% legitimate. He initially, and it happened 17 minutes apart. The first thing I saw on the Instatubes was he was jumping into the portal, right? Because he didn't get the playing time at USC that he thought he was going to get. I completely get that. That's what the kids do these days. I get it.
As much as he deserved.
No, 1,000%. That's what people are saying. And I'm not saying he won't turn into a good player, but I think, honestly, his dad's like, listen, just jump in. Somebody's going to grab you. And like they're probably already negotiating. And like
I'm play 1 year, I'll retire, you'll get sent to the G League.
Yeah.
Well, that's the question, right? To me, it's like, okay, so there's a lot of speculation because LeBron has said, I'm going to go to a team, whatever team my son is going to play for, that's who I want to go to, right? So there's a lot of speculation that maybe the Sixers are going to pick him up. Maybe the Lakers are going to pick him up. Who knows, right? Who knows what's going to happen? But what happens?
Knicks.
The Knicks could be a place too. What happens when it comes to bottom line it, right? You only have so many roster spots. You're legitimately trying to win a championship, and you've got a kid who scored 4 points a game for USC last year.
Jalen Brunson's like,
shitty
what are we
USC
doing?
team.
What are we doing?
Exactly. I mean, there's only something you're like, oh, great, I've got a 41-year-old LeBron James, but other than that, who am I getting? I'm not getting anybody.
It's called Austin Rivers.
Yeah. Well, Austin Rivers was a decent player. I mean, he was a decent player for a handful of years.
On his own team.
Yeah,
God.
I mean,
when
he
he
got
had
traded,
chances, it's
Yep.
so.
Yep.
but he was
Yeah,
a
he
role
gets
player. That he was a good
dumped.
role player.
He's gonna get dumped the minute LeBron retires,
As soon as he's gone.
unless he remarkably turns into. But I don't see potential for him being an all-star. He has to become a fringe player, like one of the guys off the bench that can stay on a team and play off the bench. Because if you're the 12th guy, you're you're not going to re-sign a 12th guy for any
Right.
major money. So you're dumping him and drafting another guy to put 12th on your bench,
Mm.
So his time would be limited, I would believe. He could
Like he needs
probably play G League and in Europe and stuff just off the name, but in the NBA, he's only playing if daddy's on the team.
if he legitimately gets drafted, and well, I say legitimately, but it's not really legitimate. It's just getting
Yeah.
drafted off
Yeah.
of his name. But if he gets drafted to a team, I think Rubber Shoes, you're right. He has to get to a level before his dad retires. He has to get to a level of like a Peyton Pritchard. Like you've got to
Yeah.
be that 7th or 8th guy coming off the bench where you can get consistent 15, 20 minutes and really contribute. And the only reason I use Peyton Pritchard is because he's that size. They're about the same size. He might be a little bit taller or shorter than him. But Peyton Pritchard now, you remember Peyton Pritchard for the first few years he was in the league. He did nothing. I mean, he was basically like, we're probably going to drop him at some point. And then they extended him. And now all of a sudden he's a real contributor on a team that's projected to go to the finals. So, that's where Bronny would have to go in order to stick around. But I don't know. I've watched him play a couple of times. I just don't see it. And I know he's super young, but I just don't see it. I don't know how a team is going to justify the roster spot.
And he was playing in like legitimate high school and AAU teams, and at least what you saw on social media, what I saw on social media, he looked otherworldly. And then he gets to USC and like,
but he was also on a stacked team. He was with 3 or 4 other NBA stars, kids on that team that were all. I mean, the team was stacked, so they were killing other people. It was like the Globetrotters, playing.
Yeah.
They could do whatever they wanted against these other teams.
Yeah.
And USC was terrible. I mean, absolutely terrible. Yeah. And not just because Bronny wasn't good. They were just bad all the way around.
Not good. Yeah.
And not to mention, I think it, not to dump on the guy entirely. I mean, he did just have a cardiac arrest at the start of the season. So, he's coming back from that and trying to play his way into that. So, there's that bit of it. But I just think, you open yourself up to scrutiny when you start to put yourself out there and say you're an NBA prospect.
Yeah.
And honestly, he's not.
That's with the cardiac thing. That's why I think he should go back to college and get another year,
right?
And prove that it was just recovery from that. Like but I also heard he did not sign with an agent. So I don't know if he gets picked, he can still choose to go back to college or not. But I know if he doesn't get picked, he can go back to college.
Well, he did enter he like Timmy said, he entered the transfer portal and he announced for the draft. So you can do both. I think until you get actually physically signed, you can go to it. You can go back to college.
Interesting.
Yeah. So it's a weird scenario.
Yeah, for sure. So I'm going just to dot the I and cross the T on basketball, and you guys are welcome to talk about the Celtics. Going this weekend, 1:00 game Sunday, last home game of the season. I forget who we're playing. Forget who we're playing.
We're playing the Wizards.
That's what it is. Yeah. So Francis and I will be at that.
That's awesome.
Are there like the conversation, like just listening to sports radio when I jump in the car and stuff? Like, do you guys think that we have? And I know I pick on him all the time, and I'm actually watching him shoot a 3 right now. Do we think we have the unlocked version of JT for the playoffs? Is he in a good place right now, or do you think that it's a crapshoot what we're going to get?
I'm just worried. They've been, resting these guys a lot. They haven't looked great. Last night they didn't look good at all.
Yeah.
I want to see them play all together like these last 3 games or 3 games. They have 3 games left. Like, play your team that's going into the playoffs. They look like they're a little off lately. and I'm a little scared. This team has never been a team that I felt could just turn the switch on, like they say.
Mhm.
They don't, because they've had first rounds against really bad teams where they didn't just flip the switch, and they have a 6 or 7 game series with a team they really shouldn't have.
Mm-hmm. You getting a call?
No.
Just okay. All right. I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to get you in trouble there. I agree with Rubber Shoes. Unfortunately, Timmy, what I think they should do, and I think this is only unfortunate because you're going to the game, but I think personally, what I would love to see them do is I would love.
Am I getting Sheestein on Sunday? Is he coming in?
You might be getting Nemus Keita starting at center. No, but he's fun to watch, by the way. He's fun to watch.
He needs to get some playing time. He hasn't played a lot lately.
No, he hasn't. But they did just sign him as their 14th or 15th guy, whatever. Okay, so what I think they should personally, because I agree with Rubber Shoes, I'm a little bit uneasy about the fact that they've all got. I mean, I love that they've gotten all this rest, but I'm still also a little bit uneasy about it because that you're going to bang off the rust once you get into the blast. I would love to see them start everybody, have everybody available on whatever it is Thursday for play against the Knicks, and just pound the Knicks. Like just run them out of the gym, and then sit everybody for the last 2 games. Like just sit everybody. Start Hauser and Pritchard and Svi, Mihailuk, all these guys. Start those guys and let them play, and let the other guys rest for a full week.
Timmy, you might see the Celtics from the '80s, an all-white starting team.
You might.
Francis will be so annoyed. Like he gets.
Who's his favorite player?
No, he's more of a JB. Well, let me say this considering that when both of them were younger, Janina, God bless her, because she's a maniac, but she loves these kind of missions. They found out. Actually, just saw a highlight reel on JB just slam one. They found out that JB was going to be setting up, his 7 clothing or Juice clothing. I apologize.
Juice.
But I think there's a 7 in the logo. Am I right? Wrong? Maybe.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
His Juice clothing line was dropping a pop-up shop maybe it was in Brookline. So Janina throws all the leprechauns into the vehicle. They screech down there. She's like trying to get her chest signed and the baby signed and the boys signed, and they buy all this gear. We spent a ton of money on Juice. Well, because we love them.
Yes,
my therapist said to remind myself that I love the family. And
that's at least 2 microphones for your studio, Tim.
Well, don't get me started. And listen, so I would say Francis. That's probably who he would say.
His guy.
I think. Yeah. We could check in with Bubba, but I have no idea. He's busy, probably not answering my texts. So, but I think Francis would say Jalen. Now, if they all don't play, this is where the autism kicks in, right? Which I love the new word that people throw around. And if I'm insulting you, I apologize. As a parent of an autistic kid, I think this term is hysterical. You'll see people online, and like somebody was like, somebody will see a video and they're like, they'll question, do they have the tendencies? And the question is he acoustic? Which I love, right? Because you say that in passing, and somebody's like, oh yeah, my son's diabetic and acoustic, and they're like, what? So
yeah.
One of his acoustic tendencies is this is a couple of Christmases ago. One of the guys here at the company, and of course we had season tickets ages ago, but one of the guys at the company here was like, yeah, I'm not going to use the tickets. It was December 26th. We were playing the Bills at Gillette. And so it gave me the 4 tickets, and we told the boys that we'd be going, and they were excited because we haven't been since we had season tickets. And we're at like halftime. Josh and the Bills are annihilating us because it was it was in the heart of the Mac Jones experiment. And it was just good times. And he turns to Janina and he's like, if we're going to lose this game, I can't be here. Like his goal was to leave the building. Can't be in building if we lose.
Yeah.
Yeah. So we had to, we pulled the fire alarm and we timed it. I said to him, I'm like, we will start heading for the exits. That by the time the final gun gets fired, you will not be in the building. I'm like, you're okay as long as we're outside the gate, like that specific.
I
So he
don't
could
think you'll have.
technically
I don't
say-
think you'll have to worry about that.
So he could technically say, I was
I didn't
not
watch the
there.
rest.
I wasn't there when they lost.
Right.
Yes.
Right.
So
Yeah, I don't
news.
think you'll have to worry about that on this weekend when they play the Wizards. Honestly, even if it's our scrubs, I don't think you'll have to worry about it.
Well, that was my next question. Although I wouldn't
Wizards
be
are terrible.
I wouldn't be upset with that because the sooner that he says, "Let's go to the car and get
Let's
out of
go.
here," the faster we get to Route 1 in Saugus.
There you
Amen,
go.
sister. Yep.
Oh, that's good.
boy.
Hey, by the way, I wanted
Jordan
to say,
Poole could go off of 40.
Oh
Yeah,
boy.
Jordan
Yeah.
Poole. Yeah,
Yep.
he's reliable.
Oh,
I
we'll
wanted
see.
to
He's
say I
not
saw
reliable, but he could go off for 40. He has that potential.
Yep.
I saw
Yep.
I saw a video of one of the basketball games. I forget. I don't know who they were playing, but Janina posted it. Shoot, I'm trying to think of what you call it. The unified sports games. Is that what it is?
Yeah, well,
Unified Sports?
the stuff he just finished. That's yeah. So
Yeah.
there's two teams, and I forget the brackets. So there's like the team he was on, which just the kid, and because it's a myriad of athletes. There's acoustic kids, Down syndrome. There's all. It's not just all autistic kids.
Yeah.
And I think they refer to the unified team as maybe the less proficient athletes.
Okay.
Are
All
the
right.
unified. He's in the other team. Like they're actually calling. They don't call. There's no traveling. There's no fouls. There's no. I do very well in that league. Actually, yeah. They didn't have a double extra fat, so I couldn't play.
Oh, that's too bad.
But yes,
You
he
could
was.
coach. You could coach.
He gets super decked out. I realized we screw up
loved
though
it.
because he's got the wristbands and the headbands that go with his BC kit and the ones that go with his Celtics kit. But then he wears those with the Barrington colors, which are blue and yellow.
Oh.
Yeah, so he looks like Jaylen Brown and Steph Curry had a baby, and it's just not good. Like the last
Yeah,
kid,
you got to
the
get
last-
him geared up.
Yeah, the last thing you need, a kid with special needs playing basketball at a special needs basketball festival, and then you create the last thing they need to do is actually clash, right? Yeah, like you could at least be fashion forward, So I'm like,
Right,
God, we
right,
got to
come
get him
on.
blue. We got to get him some Steph Curry stuff so we can match
That's a
his
dad
team
fail.
colors.
That's a dad fail right
It's a
there.
huge
Come on,
dad fail. Yeah, because he's super hyped up and decked out at practice. He looks
Yeah.
perfect. Right, he's got all the kits. I even got him. I
loved
think
it, though.
I sent you guys the picture. What he's got he's got two different Celtics looks.
Yeah.
He's got the BC setup, and then I actually went and got him the Jackie Moon setup. He's got the full Jackie
I
Moon
love that.
Yeah,
with the
I know,
striped
man.
socks and everything. But then, of course, they have to wear the Barrington colors for the Special Olympics. So,
Yeah.
they did it right. He had 2 field goals.
22 and 10, right?
What's that?
22 and 10.
What, the final score?
No, I was
What are you talking
joking. What
I'm
his
sorry.
stat line was is what I
Oh
was.
no, God, no.
22.
But
Because never mind.
he,
It'd be 22 and 22.
in one of his
22
games,
and
one of his games, he hit a 3 though.
Nice. That's amazing.
He does the whole bow and it. Like, dude, get back and play
Yes,
defense.
I love
he
that.
immediately turns into the worst version of LeBron. He's like walking back, signing babies, blowing kisses.
Give him his moment. Come
never gets
on.
back on defense. It's terrible.
amazing.
Terrible. Yep. Dear Lord.
I love
not that
that.
I don't want to talk
I
about
love
other stuff, but I do want to spend more time and we can hit the Bruins and the Celtics more next week. I do want to talk about opening day. I do want to talk about the fact that I didn't catch it. I sort of fell asleep at the wheel yesterday and didn't realize it was 2:00. I looked up, it was 4:00. I know that we didn't do well. And I do love that they waited until, but Billy probably knows. I love that they waited until yesterday to unveil the 49
That's
on
what
the
I
sleeve.
thought they might do.
Yeah, they waited until opening day, and I appreciate that. I think there's one aesthetic that they missed on the 49. So if you saw it, it's the heart with the 49 on the sleeve. Question for you, Rubber Shoes, if you know, or Adam, if you know, are they keeping that on for the rest of the year, or was that just yesterday?
I don't know. We'll find out today.
Yeah, that should be on there.
Hope so. That's what they do.
Yeah, they
That
got to
should
keep
be
it
on
on there
there.
the whole season.
That should be on there all season. And number
Yes.
2, and this is just me and my marketing brain, I wish somebody had thought it out a little bit more, because it is, and I have a stress ball here so I can show you. I immediately looked at the heart logo with the 49, and I wish they had just shown the hand around it like a knuckleball.
Oh yeah. that
The
would've been
fingers around the heart with the 49 would have been a home run, which dear John Henry, you're not capable of those, But like, yeah, I mean, Dr. Charles Stewart or whatever his name is, he's in charge of all the opening day festivities and stuff. I just wish that the marketing team sat a little bit longer. They could have made that really cool if they had his fingers wrapped around it.
That's smart.
Like a knuckleball. That would have been ball. And there's still time to change it, guys. So,
Yeah. I'm sure the uniforms haven't been printed
you could dip into the Fenway Sports Group and probably go on Fiverr. Have some kid high as a kite over at over at Northeastern could whip one up for you in
the
7
young
minutes.
media will do it for you for just a few $100.
Well, I knew
we'll
it was
knock it out
coming,
for you.
and I didn't share them with you because I didn't want to ruin the surprise.
Yes.
Because I might have owned a couple jerseys in my life. So I get emails from fanatics like crazy. So I've seen probably 10 different versions of Red Sox jerseys with the patch on it. And the best one I saw, which when I first saw it, I shed a tear, was a 49 Wakefield jersey with the 49 patch on it. It was amazing.
Heartbreaking.
Yeah, it is unbelievable. And for his daughter to come out for the first pitch. What is going on in her head in that moment? And she held it together.
Yeah.
I was watching the replay of it. And I looked over at Janine and I'm like, I'm not crying. She's like, I didn't ask. I'm like, I can't see. Oh my God. The girl comes out and she threw a strike to Tech. It was so... Yeah. They did a really good job. The 49 better be there all year. It's ridiculous if it's not. And there's still time they should switch it, and it should be inside of his fingers. Like a knuckleball. That would be magical if they did that. Why am I so far from being right when I said 63 and 99? Am I going to be way off? Do we have a juggernaut on our hands?
20 too many.
What's that?
This ship is sinking real quick. Don't get caught up in their second place record right now.
Why? What do you see coming? Talk to me, Miss Cleo.
They played. The Angels are probably a tick above them.
Sure. Yes.
And the Mariners have a good pitching staff, but they don't have a great team yet. They're still putting it together.
Yep.
If you look at their games they've played, they're 7-3, maybe 7-4 now.
They're 7-4 after yesterday. Yep.
4 or 5 of the games that they've played, they've only scored one or less run. They were shut out a game. They won 1-0 in a game. They lost 2-1. They lost whatever to 1 yesterday. They only got 1 run. They're not scoring. Their pitching has been pleasantly surprising, but Pavetta's on the IL right now, which screws up my game Friday night.
So, can I ask a question first of all? Obviously, historically, today's always been a day off. We're off today, correct?
Yes. No. They're playing. Nope, they're playing.
Oh, they are. Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, so there is a game. There is a game tonight.
Pavetta was supposed to start tonight. Pavetta got put on the IL. The pitching staff got moved up a day. Cutter Crawford's pitching today, and Whitlock's pitching tomorrow, who would have pitched Friday, the game I'm going to. Now Friday's a TBD, which will either be Tanner Houck pitching on his regular day rest.
Mm-hmm.
It will be a bullpen game, or it's going to be someone they call up just to pitch that day.
Okay.
So, and they're facing the Angels ace.
So that was my question. So the Orioles are yesterday, today, and tomorrow.
Yes.
Tomorrow
So
and tomorrow's a getaway game, right? So it'll be tomorrow afternoon.
No, I think because
we're not leaving, but I'm just saying the Orioles might be leaving. Okay, and then Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday is the Angels.
Yes.
Okay, for the I was going to say the Super Bowl marathon, same thing. Same thing. It's really the same thing.
Good chance they get swept by Baltimore. They're playing the Angels again this weekend, so they'll stay they'll stay above 500 through Marathon Monday.
Then the wheels come off.
And and already after last night, Cora does not want to be there. They asked him, asked him about the game, and he's like, that's where we are right now.
So do you
Not
think,
even like, oh, it was one game, we'll get him, totally. Yep. This is what I expected, basically.
do you think Breslow has the relation? I mean, I think I know the answer. It's almost a rhetorical question. Does Breslow have the relationship with Tech that he would just slide Tech up? Or do you think they'd actually do a search? Or do they slide somebody on the bench slides up that's not Tech?
Their pitching coach is Breslow's buddy that they brought in.
Okay.
So I don't know. Nobody knows if Tech actually wants. I don't care. Answered the question, he says he loves the jobs he's doing right now. That might have been just to not try to be like, hey, yeah, I want the job as soon as Core is gone, and then everyone starts saying, hey, we want Veritek. So he could have been saying it that way just to not stir up, a lot of static. But Breslow did bring in this pitching coach himself.
Yeah. Okay.
So he could be the next guy.
The chess piece on the board. Yeah. Who's the hitting coach right now?
I don't know the answer to that.
Do they not?
I know it's not the guy from last year. I know they got rid of him and they got rid of the pitching coach. So I don't know who it is.
Would you not see if Big Papi would be interested, or even Manny? Like, honestly, at this point, we need all the help we can get.
There's a reason why Michael Jordan isn't a head coach. There's a reason
he's not
why
Larry Bird didn't do well as a head coach.
Wasn't a great head coach.
Yeah,
Larry Bird took them to the finals, but all right, I'm just saying.
How many rings did he win? 0.
What do you expect? What do you expect?
So defensive.
What an asshole! Larry Bird sucked as a coach. No, he didn't. He took him to the finals. But whatever. Go ahead.
No. But Rubber Shoes' greater point is great players don't always make great coaches.
Yeah,
yes.
I get it.
Yeah. So I don't they're good to go down to spring training and give them their 2 cents down there. I don't know if you got to be invested in it. Like Tech's invested, and it seems like a lot of catchers are. There's Scott Service as a head coach. He was a catcher. The guy that got suspended with Core, he ended up getting another job. He was a catcher also. Catchers seem to, because catchers have to do all that work preparing for games as players. So they're already know all the stuff that they need to do. So I think that's why it kind of falls into their. I mean, Rich Gedman was a he was a manager down in AAA.
Yep.
It seems like there's no upside if you're like a huge, like Ortiz, Manny, and Pedro. They're all like big, larger than life characters in Boston. They come back. Everybody loves them. They're falling all over themselves. What upside is there to come back and be a hitting coach on a sinking ship or a manager for that matter? Like even Tech, like we will always love Tech, but if he's 25 games under 500, we're still going to be killing him. What's the upside to it?
Yeah, there's no benefit in taking the role.
Have to want that job because it's unless you're winning championships, it's not a great job.
Yeah, exactly.
There's always going to be.
Look at how fast we kicked Bill Belichick to the curb 2 seasons, and we were like, "Yep, thanks for the 6 rings. See ya."
Yeah, that position is a "what have you done for me lately" position. Definitely.
I wanted to say right now that. I wanted to say one thing. So I don't watch the Red Sox that much as much as I used to anymore, and I'll follow them on ESPN and stuff and get the updates. But I did want to see the Wake stuff.
She'll fill you in. Yep.
Okay. I did want to see like all the Wake stuff, and I was happy to see them honor him in such a nice way, and a lot of the former players came back and all that stuff, and they celebrated the 2004 team and all that stuff. That was all great.
Yep.
But I was thinking, and so then there's there's that piece, and then there's also the dynasty piece that we've been talking about for a number of weeks with the Patriots, and there's a lot of like old Patriots coming out of the woodworks talking about those years when the dynasty was being built and stuff like that. So I don't know what happened in Boston where we all of a sudden there was like a prototypical Boston athlete, right? It was a guy who had a chip on his shoulder, who just came to work and worked hard, didn't make any waves, a Big Papi, a Teddy Bruschi, these guys, like we had so many of those guys, and it felt like there was an endless supply of them as they were coming through during that dynasty period, and then also with the Red Sox, when they won their multiple championships. What has happened? Like I don't, and people will say, well, they don't invest in the teams anymore, and that's part of it. But there's also something that's happened where we just don't find these guys anymore. We don't go out and find guys who are high character guys who are just there to win. That's all they care about is winning. I mean, even, you want to say Brady's like one of the ultimate winners of all time, but he was also one of these guys that sacrificed a lot. He could have been a superstar quarterback, and he did ultimately become that. But in the early years, after he won his first 3 titles, he was still like a lunch pail guy coming in every day doing his thing. I don't know what's happened, but we don't have those guys anymore. I mean, even like the Tatums and the Browns on the Celtics, they're not those guys either. I love them. Don't get me wrong. I hope they bring us a chip this year, but it's weird. I just feel like we've lost our way in finding those types of guys that Boston sort of, coalesces around and builds good teams around.
Who would you say
it just
is
doesn't
the
seem to
last
happen anymore.
Who would you say was the last lunch pail athlete for the Celtics?
Oh, for the Celtics. Well, it's got to be Smart, right? I mean, it's got to be Marcus Smart.
Yeah.
I know he didn't bring a ring, but he's one of those guys that just showed up, did anything he could to win. He didn't wasn't able to get over the hump, but he I think he was the guy for the Celtics. I mean, Al Horford's kind of that guy.
A star that does that.
Yeah, star.
Like,
Yeah. He wasn't a star. That's true.
Pearson Garnett did
Garnett
that.
is probably the most recent. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep. Well,
Because they
that's
were
the thing,
stars.
it's
That's a
like
good point.
yeah,
you
Paul
need-
Pierce is such a great example.
You need
Like
the star to lead by example that
Right.
way, to have the
Yes.
other guys follow them. It's like,
That's
if
right.
Marcus Smart does it, great. Yeah, he dives on the floor and stuff, but it's like, oh, I get paid more money than him. I don't need to do that.
right.
When the highest
right.
paid player on the team is doing that stuff, then you're like, well, hey, that guy's
That's
doing
true.
it then.
That's a good point. Yep.
For somebody who could have checked out on a city, for Paul Pierce to be, was it Buzzy's Bar and Grill where he got stabbed 35,000 times?
Oh, right. Yeah.
And then he's like,
Yep.
yeah, I'm going to hang out. This is a great city. I
I'm
love
still
it.
here.
Yeah,
Yep,
I'm
I
still
love
here.
it.
Like
He,
that.
he
Yeah.
was
All the
ready.
time.
If they didn't get Allen and Garnett that year, he was gone.
Yeah, no, 1,000%.
Yeah.
Yes.
Of course.
Yeah. And who,
Probably would have been a Laker.
Who do you think the last lunch pail person for the Red Sox was? Do you think it was Poppy?
No, I think it was Petey.
yeah.
Wasn't it Petey?
More of a dirt dog, Petey, you think? Yes,
Yeah,
no, maybe?
but the star power guy,
Was Poppy.
get on my back type of guy. I
Yes.
would say
True. That's true. That's true.
Poppy.
And we say Brady. Brady might have been it.
And the problem is, just look around all the leagues, all the sports. There's not a lot of those guys anymore. There's not.
There really aren't.
Like,
I know.
Like even LeBron. That's like my biggest thing about LeBron is that he could have made it a no question about him being the GOAT. He could have dominated, but he just it's like he. Like Kobe was on a horrible team and would want to play to the last minute. You'd have to pull the shirt off his back before he would come out of a game.
Yeah.
And LeBron's good at, I'll sit the fourth quarter. I'll walk off the floor with 2 minutes left, and it's like, big deal. I'm still making $100 million for my shoes today. Whatever.
My shoes
like,
today.
You don't.
Honestly, though,
Yep, it's true though. It's true.
I thought Giannis might be that guy, but he seems to be turning the other way. Patrick Mahomes is
Yeah.
definitely
Yeah.
one of those guys.
Yep.
Pains me to admit it, but that's true.
Sure.
Yeah, but you look at a lot of the major sports, and it doesn't feel like there's those elite athletes that have that killer instinct.
Right. Right.
I'd say right now for the Bruins, it's Marshawn. Wouldn't you?
Yeah.
And the transformation of him too. The fact that he was getting yelled at years ago, the refs had to stop the game and be like, "Stop licking people's faces," right?
Yeah.
And now he's skating around the sea on, and he's amazing. Like he's it's such a transformation for him, you know?
So, but before last night, their last week was really good
Mm-hmm.
and got me thinking, oh, maybe they got it.
Last night was disappointing.
So the
And
problem
the first goal was a goal, by the way.
with the Bruins right
Because I'm a
now
referee.
is they're gonna catch what they caught last year, and that's last year they caught Florida, who got healthy and was playing the way they should have been playing most of the year, the first round of the playoffs, and that's Tampa Bay right now, and that's who they are lining
We're lined
up
up for right now. Yep.
And it's like
I think
it's going to happen 2 years in a row. They catch the team that's, no pun intended, caught lightning in a bottle.
Yeah, they're heating up while we're almost like it's that running joke, pun intended again. The running joke that Seinfeld used to tell about. He goes, how do the horses feel when they're running around the track? Like, they're not trying to win. They're like, you finish first, I finish first. Doesn't matter. We all get the same oat bag, right? Like the horses in the track, they're not really racing. They're trying not to break their leg, and they just want to go back to their stable and eat oats, right?
Right.
And yeah, we're sort of, the Bruins are sort of like, nobody get hurt. Like, and I'm not saying that they're not playing good hockey there, but they're not playing good hockey. They're not back on their heels, but they're not heating up. And I think the bigger problem too is you've got Florida could be a problem. They're going to probably see Tampa first year point, and the Rangers are going to be a headache too. And there's like probably going to have to get through those three teams to get to where we need to go, which is horrifying. So it's, but we're going to win the President's Cup again. Who cares?
They're going to earn it if they win it.
Yes, 1,000%.
If you had to choose, who was more likely to lose in the first round, the Celtics or the Bruins? Now,
Bruins,
keeping
100%.
in mind, I know everybody's going to say, definitely the
100%.
Bruins. Okay, but the Celtics could run into the Heat. Now, I know the Heat have not been great this regular season, but they weren't great last regular season. They could run into the Sixers with Embiid in the first round. I mean, there's all sorts of weird possibilities.
Yeah,
not saying that's going to happen, but
we haven't had a problem with Embiid in the playoffs.
I don't know, but never say never. So I mean, I would agree. I would agree Bruins, but I just think it makes me so freaking nervous. I just want these stupid playoffs to start. So you probably don't watch a lot of the hockey, Adam, correct? No, I don't. I do not.
But so if you watch the Celtics and the Bruins, and you told me both teams were the best in their leagues, you would be 100% Celtics. You're shitting me with the Bruins because you watch them and you're like, they're like the biggest frustrating team there is. They go into overtime all the time and lose, and they get points for getting that. So
you were saying that the last couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, they do not look like the best team in hockey.
Well, I hope that the case is that they both get out of the first round this year, so that we can not bemoan the teams. But it just both of them scare me just because of the way the Celtics are lining up with some of these other teams. But you're right, we've done okay against Embiid in the past, so maybe it's not such a big deal.
I don't like how they've played against Milwaukee this year.
I know, it's like they're seeing ghosts when they go up to Milwaukee. It's crazy. But they got some mic'd up thing with Tatum last night, talking to White about basically like, oh, it'll be different when we come up here in the playoffs. So clearly
that's the thing I'm worried about with them. They haven't proven to me in the past that they can just flip a switch.
Yeah,
that's what
I hear what you're
about.
saying. I hear what you're saying, but it's like it's one of these things where it's like, would you care about a game in Milwaukee when you've already wrapped up the best record in the league and the best record?
No, but that's the thing we've been talking about. Would Larry Bird? How would Larry Bird play the last game of the season? With 15 games, but above the next team, he would play 100% to kill that other team. The very last game.
Yeah, you're
of the
right.
Season.
You're right.
And that's what our athletes are missing now. Is that I always call it the killer instinct. That they want to bury their opponent every time. Every time they're out there on the floor, they want to bury their opponent, and it's definitely not basketball way across the league nowadays.
Yeah.
Here
If I
comes
can
me
say
with my
bef- I know-
4-prong cane waving it at the clouds. It's a big piece of this. We talked about it before too, is because they're all connected on social media.
Oh yeah.
There are
And they all
friendships
play
now
against
between
each
They
other
all
in high
played.
school.
They
that would have
played
never.
with each other on AAU teams.
Yep, they would have
the
never
same
met. They would have
agents.
never had the relationship they have now.
Yep,
it's just
true.
the whole circle's closer, and they're not
I mean,
frenemies
just-
anymore.
it-
They're just friends. Yeah.
Adam, you might not. You're younger than us, so you may not remember these. But the All-Star baseball games back in the 70s and 80s, they hated each other. They were playing that game like it was the World Series. Like Pete Rose bowled over a catcher in an All-Star game.
Yeah.
And it's like they didn't play the interleague play back then either. So, the American League hated the National League, and even hockey for a long time they never played interleague. It was Eastern Conference, Western or the Wales.
The
I
Norris
forget all
division.
the
the Wales.
Campbell division,
The
whatever.
Norris division. Yeah.
But they hated each other. Now it's
Yeah.
like, they're very friendly with each other. They're probably talking about, hey, when you're a free agent, we'll go play together in Miami.
Yep. Yeah, that's true. Before we go, I just want to mention the WNBA draft is on Monday. So Caitlin
they
don't
Clark
waste
obviously
any
will go
time,
first.
No, we're
they don't-
right into it.
Well,
We're
they got
gonna-
the season starts.
Adam and I are doing it. Adam and I are doing a
that's
draft
true
show.
too. They have a summer season.
We should do a draft show. I
A
love that
draft
idea.
show?
I'm all about it. Let's do it live. So just to
If
run
they
down
have
the
trading
list.
cards, I just want everyone's Gabby Marshall. That's all I want. That's
Oh,
all I
they
want.
definitely
Oh,
They definitely do.
misogyny at its finest.
She's my favorite.
Okay, all right.
Okay.
Don't watch her. Don't watch her on the YouTubes then, because she's super annoying. So Caitlin Clark will be number 1, probably. Cameron Brink number 2. Camila Cardoso is number 3, and then that's basically where it drops off. But with names, I mean, Angel Reese will be in there too. Aaliyah Edwards was projected to be 5.
Don Staley was trying to get Cameron Brink to go play with her. And I know I know Cameron had already declared, but she was like, they ran into somewhere, and she's like, "You coming to play with us?" And she's like, "No, shh," and all this stuff. I'm like, "Oh, maybe there's some truth to that." God bless Don Staley. She's gonna.
Oh, so
I love her.
So
She's gonna write
speaking
her own
of
ticket.
trading cards,
Yes, sir.
I had told you guys a few weeks ago that I had cards that I had sent out to be graded,
Yep.
and one of them was a Shohei Ohtani, and yes, it did come back as a 10. So he's gonna be banned from baseball at some point. I know that.
Oh my God. What's it
wow.
worth right now? So a 10 means
160.
it's in mint condition.
Yep.
Okay.
It's just a base regular rookie card. There's no they have
Okay.
different inserts and stuff. It's just a base card, and it's like worth about 160 right now.
Right now.
Wow.
And if he stays out of jail, it could become much, much more.
Oh,
like
yeah.
what's the most expensive card you have? Is that the one right now?
I don't know. I have Patrick Waugh rookie cards.
I feel like you have a Club of Land card from Rocky 3.
I have a lot of hockey cards from back when the 80s and 90s.
He didn't hear me. You don't have a Club of
that's
Land card from Rocky 3? No.
No. Oh, no.
There is no
Oh man,
tomorrow.
I didn't know that they still collected baseball cards.
Oh, it's huge now.
Oh,
Again.
hold it.
No, not me.
Nothing.
Timmy, before we
Yeah.
go, we have to talk for 5 seconds even about Charles Barkley being using the cookie puss.
Hang on.
Did you hear it? Did you watch it?
Am I on? Is it working? Yeah. So I only caught it when you referenced it, and I don't know if Janine and I were talking or if I had it turned down, because the best part of NBA season is Ernie and the crew in studio when it's him and Shaq.
Yes. Oh, it's
There's,
so funny.
There's some really
It's so
good
funny.
stuff. I know this is annoying. I'll take
Take it off. I was very excited. That was great. Yeah, it was great. You're like, oh my God, he's got a cookie puss filter. And I was just like,
Oh, is it cream filled?
yeah.
Oh,
So good. So
yes,
good. So delicious.
Man.
We got stuck with Corey in hair and makeup. He is the at the buzzer bracket champion. So he got all the shekels. We did $24 a head. I believe everyone is paid up.
Yeah.
Scotty Dukes is in hair and makeup. We will hopefully see them next week. We'll be back next week for Adam for Rubber Shoes and for myself. It's atbshow.com. Rubber Shoes is back on it in the morning, first thing. You're out of shirts and you're on to hats, or you're out of hats and you're back on to shirts?
Everything is completed after today.
Feet. We need feet next time, Rubber Shoes.
So can I ask, we discussed in the chat, there's going to be a new feature. Is this going to be weekly that you're going to do all the beats?
I don't think it's going to happen.
Is it a licensing issue?
Yes.
I thought so.
I did some researching, and it's weird though. There's I see a lot of DJ posts where they're fine, but I tried this in the past, doing it on Facebook Live, and I got shut down after a half hour.
Oh, 1,000% on Facebook. Yep.
Yeah, and YouTube is crazy about it too. So I don't know if these guys keep it up. But.
Yeah, I don't.
Interesting.
I look to try to if I record it and then put it on, it might stay up, but I definitely don't think the live thing would be able to work.
If he does it, there's a 50% chance our entire channel gets shut down. So
yeah, I love that. Yeah. Well, wonderful.
Roll the
but you can look for the Rubber Shoes riding posts.
Rubber Shoes riding.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah.
Brought to you
careful
by
with that. Careful with that title. Careful, honestly.
Yeah. Well. We'll
you got to tune in to see what it's about.
We'll get a few viewers, I'm sure.
Not an OnlyFans account.
Yeah. Would you like some licorice? Anyway, so for everyone, Rubber Shoes will be riding, not spinning. Well, maybe. Oh, you will be spinning actually on the
Rubber
Bruce
Shoes
Freeman
spinning
Trail.
and
Not a
riding.
sponsor yet. And our dear friends Joe and Leslie over at AAA Work Trucks, we thank them for all their support. We'd love for you to share and subscribe and comment and like, and we'll be back at it next week. Have a phenomenal weekend. Enjoy. I think it's supposed to get rainy again. I don't know what's happening. Is it snowing down there?
Supposed to be nice Friday night for the game.
We're all in different
Oh, I love that. I'm going to have great weather at the Garden and at Kowloon, so we look forward to that too. Take care, everybody.